05, 17 hours, central Strait of Hormuz. Dawn light rests flat across the shipping lane. Tanker silhouettes drifting through pale haze as radar masts turn in measured silence. Then the battle space fractures. Warning receivers scream, and the first hostile emissions burst across the water. Spy 1DV, arrays aboard the destroyer register the change first. 14 surface contacts, 9 low-altitude air tracks, 2 subsurface anomalies. Coastal fire control radar activates near Bandar Abbas. The scale is unmistakable. This is not harassment. This is a coordinated denial attempt aimed at the narrowest shipping corridor on Earth. In Combat Information Center, the Tactical Action Officer calls away General Quarters. Link 16 networks flood with track data. Rules of engagement shift in seconds. Every console brightens. Every voice sharpens. The Strait has become an engagement envelope. At 05:19 hours, the outer screen moves first. An E-2D Advanced Hawkeye orbiting 92 nautical miles southeast of Keshem Island pushes refined targeting to the strike package overhead. 2 FA-18E Super Hornets pivot north. 1 EA-18G Growler descends behind them, jamming acquisition bands and data link paths. The first Iranian fast attack swarm is now 27 nautical miles from the convoy lane. 18 boats in dispersed formation, accelerating past 42 knots. At 05:21 hours, infrared search systems pick up missile transporter movement along the coast. 3 launch vehicles, 2 radar vans, 1 command truck, a pair of F-16CM fighters operating from a regional base under combined command enter release parameters at 14 nautical miles from shore. AGM-65 Maverick missiles come off the rails in pairs, missiles away. Time to impact 22 seconds. The first command vehicle erupts in orange flame. The second shatters beside a berm line. A radar van vaporizes. Coastal tracking degrades immediately. At 05:23 hours, the sea fight widens. Iranian unmanned aircraft descend to sea-skimming altitude, trying to saturate shipboard radar with clutter and false vectors. Range 41 nautical miles and closing. The lead destroyer answers with SM-6 interceptors against the highest value tracks. 2 launches, then 2 more. White plumes punch upward from the forward cells. Guidance updates flow through the network. Impact in 31 seconds. First drone destroyed at 33 nautical miles. Second disintegrates 3 seconds later. Debris rains into the shipping lane. At 05:25 hours, an MH-60R Seahawk drops low over the eastern screen. Its dipping sonar had already returned a broken contact beneath layered merchant traffic noise. Now the track stabilizes. 1 Gadir-class midget submarine attempting to position inside the tanker route. The Seahawk rolls into attack geometry. A Mark 54 torpedo enters the water 3.2 nautical miles ahead of the suspected contact. Active homing begins. 12 seconds, 20. Then a muffled underwater concussion lifts a gray boil across the surface. Subsurface track lost. Kill assessed probable. At 05:27 hours, the surface swarm crosses 21 nautical miles. The Iranian boats split into 3 attack axes, attempting to compress defensive fire and force blue water combatants to divide batteries. The U.S. screen does not divide. It layers. 1 guided missile cruiser holds long-range air picture. 2 destroyers angle their bows into the densest vector and assign standard missile and ESSM shots by geometry, not emotion. Fire control loops stay clean. The Tactical Action Officer refuses panic. That discipline matters. At 05:29 hours, the first anti-ship missiles launch from the coast. 6 heat blooms, 6 trajectories. Estimated type, mixed NOR and Cater derivatives. Initial range, 46 nautical miles. Time to terminal, less than 4 minutes. The battle space compresses instantly. Growler jamming intensifies. Deception corridors open. The lead destroyer launches SM-2 Block 3IC interceptors at 24 nautical miles. 4 missiles rise. 4 mid-course tracks settle. 2 hostile missiles are obliterated at 17 nautical miles. Another loses guidance and splashes. 3 continue inbound. At 05:31 hours, the surface swarm breaches 16 nautical miles. The first warning shots are over. Shipboard weapons now dominate. 5-inch guns open at deliberate cadence. Guided rounds arc low and flat. 1 fast attack craft explodes amidships. Another slews sideways, burning. A third is hit near the bow and cartwheels into spray. Still they keep coming. Rocket pods flash from the survivors. Machine gun tracers skate across empty water. Range collapses. 13 nautical miles. 11, 9. At 05:33 hours, close escort helicopters join the kill chain. Two MH-60R Seahawks armed with APKWS guided rockets and crew-served weapons engage the flanking boats on the western axis. Short bursts, clean corrections. One boat detonates after a fuel hit. Another is left dead in the water. A third disappears beneath a column of steam and spray. Overhead, the last three anti-ship missiles descend through 60 feet. ESSM Block 2 launches from the escort destroyer, 3 rounds in ripple fire. 2 direct hits. 1 leaker remains. At 05:34 hours, range to the surviving missile drops below 4 nautical miles. The Phalanx CIWS rotates and locks. The weapon system screams alive at 4,500 rounds per minute. Tracer streams stitch the dawn. The missile wobbles, shatters, and detonates 1.1 nautical miles off the port bow. Fragment spray rattles topside plating. No penetration, no mission kill. The convoy lane stays intact. At 05:36 hours, the central swarm attempts its final rush. 8 boats remain combat capable. Distance: 6 nautical miles. Their objective is no longer sinking a major combatant. It is forcing collision, panic, or closure. The response is brutal. Main guns, 50 caliber mounts, Griffin missiles from patrol craft, helicopter rockets from above. One after another, the fast boats are obliterated inside the inner cordon. Missiles away. Impact in 14 seconds. Direct hit. Secondary explosion. Hull break. Sinking. At 05:38 hours, a second subsurface contact appears near the southern traffic separation scheme. Too close for assumption. Too dangerous for delay. Another MH-60R turns south and drops sonobuoys in a 4-point pattern. Acoustic processors flag transient cavitation. A second Mark 54 enters the water. Search. Acquire. Strike. 12 seconds later, the sea bulges upward in a hard circular blast. Oil slick, debris, contact neutralized. At 05:40 hours, the Iranian attack is already failing, but not yet finished. 2 remaining drones emerge through electronic clutter at 7 nautical miles, angling toward the damaged merchant vessel at the rear of the convoy. 1 destroyer shifts fire instantly. Rolling airframe missile launches. 1 intercept, then another. Both drones disintegrate above the wake. The merchant crew watching from the bridge wings sees only flame fragments and falling metal. At 05:42 hours, the sky erupts. 12 impacts. Simultaneous detonations. 2 coastal launch points collapse under follow-on airstrikes. A hidden ammunition cache cooks off in violent sequence. 1 blast, then 3 more, then a rolling sheet of black smoke along the shoreline. On the water, 4 fast boats attempt to scatter south. None make it. 1 is shattered by naval gunfire. 2 are ripped apart by helicopter rockets. The last is vaporized by a Maverick strike after grounding on a shoal line. At 05:44 hours, every surviving hostile track is inside terminal range. Noise overwhelms the spectrum. Alarms stack. Radio calls overlap. The cruiser reports 3 confirmed missile kills. The destroyers report 3 more. 6 anti-ship missiles launched, 6 intercepted or diverted. The count on surface craft rises fast. 18 swarm boats committed, 15 destroyed, 2 disabled, 1 grounded and burning. Air tracks: 9 detected, 9 neutralized. Subsurface threats: 2 detected, 2 prosecuted. Elapsed time since rupture: 27 minutes. At 05:45 hours, the most dangerous moment arrives anyway. A disabled fast boat, still drifting at 18 knots, detonates a deck-loaded rocket rack only 2.4 nautical miles from the outer escort. Fragments scream across the water. 1 sailor is wounded by superficial shrapnel on an exposed mount. Another suffers acoustic trauma. No dead, no combat system losses. The ship does not slow. At 05:47 hours, secondary fires burn across the northern horizon. The sea is littered with shattered hull panels, fuel sheens, scorched flotation gear, and fragments of composite drone wings. Rescue swimmers launch toward surviving hostile personnel only after the firing arcs clear. Medical teams move with cold efficiency, battle dressing, airway checks, burn blankets. On the convoy route, 7 commercial vessels continue under escort at reduced speed. None are sunk. One tanker suffers minor fragment damage above the waterline. It remains fully navigable. At 05:49 hours, the final Iranian radar source attempts a brief reactivation from deeper inland. It lasts 11 seconds. A standoff strike suppresses it permanently. After that, the electromagnetic noise begins to thin. Fire control channels clear, voice traffic steadies. The tactical picture simplifies from chaos to inventory. Confirmed hostile fatalities are estimated at 94 across the swarm and coastal crews. 43 more are assessed wounded or recovered. U.S. losses remain minimal. 2 sailors injured, both stable, neither life-threatening. No warship is mission-killed, no aircraft is lost. 32 minutes after initial contact, silence returns in fragments. Rotors still beat overhead, pumps still throb, damage control parties still sweep compartments and weather decks with thermal imagers. Yet the violence is over. The convoy survives. The strait remains physically open. That fact carries weight far beyond the smoke still hanging above the water. The tactical lessons were immediate. Layered defense defeated mass through sequencing, not spectacle. Airborne surveillance created the first advantage by exposing the raid package before it could merge into maritime clutter, and that early picture allowed every subsequent intercept to occur on U.S. timing rather than Iranian timing. Long-range air defense stripped away the high-altitude and mid-altitude threats. Electronic attack fractured coastal targeting. Maritime helicopters closed the subsurface gaps that fixed-wing assets could not hold continuously. By the time the swarm entered gun range, the engagement had already been shaped. Strategic ramifications cascaded within hours because the Strait of Hormuz is not merely a waterway. It is a pressure valve for global energy movement, alliance credibility, and deterrence architecture. Regional navies immediately re-evaluated their assumptions about distributed maritime denial, especially the theory that massed fast attack craft and coastal missile batteries could impose prolonged paralysis on a modern escort screen. That theory had depended on confusion, compression, and attrition. Instead, the action demonstrated that networked sensors, disciplined fire control, and cross-domain coordination can strip a saturation attack of its sequencing advantage before the decisive range bands are reached. This engagement fundamentally reshaped perceptions of escalation control. It showed that a major pivot in U.S. force employment does not necessarily require a large amphibious landing or prolonged coastal bombardment. The pivot can be operational. Widen sensor coverage, decentralize strike authorization within doctrine, move aviation and shipboard fires into one synchronized kill web, and deny the opponent any uncontested layer of the battle space. In practical terms, that means Iranian defenses did not collapse from a single blow. They collapsed because each layer was denied the ability to reinforce the next. Coastal radar died first. Missile coordination fractured second. Swarm coherence dissolved third. The fight was dismantled in sequence. Regional capitals absorbed a second message as well. Commercial shipping security can be protected without halting traffic, provided escorts maintain initiative and accept the complexity of a cluttered littoral fight. Energy markets react not only to damage, but to the perception of uncontested vulnerability. Here, that perception was broken quickly. Insurance models, naval routing plans, and allied readiness postures all shift after a demonstration like this, because the action compresses theory into proof. Deterrence is always discussed in speeches. On mornings like this, it is measured in wreckage, elapsed minutes, and open sea lanes. By 05:49 hours, the attack had failed. By 32 minutes after first contact, the strike package, escort group, and rotary wing screen had dismantled a layered denial attempt across air, surface, and subsurface domains. The message was stark and durable. The strait remains open not through negotiation but through demonstrated capability.